My name is Grace Turner. I am 29 years old, and I live in a quiet town tucked against the mountains. To strangers, my life may look ordinary. A woman with a job, a daughter, a small apartment. But behind my smile, there are nights I still wake up trembling. Mornings I check the locks twice. Afternoons when a voice from the past makes my heart seize. When I was a little girl, my world felt whole. My mother sang me to sleep, her voice soft as candlelight. My father baked bread in the town's bakery. He'd return each evening dusted in flour, bringing sweet rolls warm enough to melt in your hands. My younger brother Caleb trailed after me everywhere, carrying his toy cars and laughter. We were a family, complete. Then, when I was 9, my father left for work one morning and never came back. We waited at the table until the food grew cold. We waited at the window until days turned to weeks. People whispered he had left for another woman. My mother never believed it. She sat in her chair by the glass, searching the horizon until her eyes dulled with exhaustion. 2 years later, illness stole her from us too. She grew thin, pale, a shadow of the woman who had once filled the house with warmth. Before she died, she held my hand and whispered, "Grace, you are strong. Take care of Caleb. Be brave." I was 11, but from that moment, I became something larger and smaller than a child. I became a caretaker. Our Uncle Henry came to live with us. At first, he seemed dependable. He paid the rent, brought groceries, told us to stay in school, but soon the bottle hollowed him out. His kindness curdled into anger. He shouted when Caleb dropped a spoon, slammed doors when I asked questions. Once struck me so hard my ears rang all night. The next morning, he acted as though nothing had happened. I wanted to run, but I had nowhere to go. I stayed for Caleb. I became quiet, careful, invisible, keeping the house spotless, meals ready, my voice tucked away. By 16, I was already old inside. That was when I met Jason. He worked at the corner store near school. Brown eyes, easy smile, a voice gentle enough to make me pause. He started waiting for me after class. We talked about books, about music, about how small towns can feel like cages. He promised the world beyond the mountains was waiting. One cold evening, I packed a small bag, left Caleb a note under his pillow, "I'll come back for you," and ran away with Jason. At first, it felt like freedom. He made me tea in chipped mugs, wrapped me in blankets, whispered that I was safe. For a few weeks, I believed him. We walked under stars and talked about futures we couldn't yet afford. But when he lost his job, everything turned. Beer bottles replaced promises. He shouted, pushed, then apologized with tears. I stayed because I had nowhere else to go. At 18, I discovered I was pregnant. I thought it would save us, that the child would make him love me better. Instead, he grew crueler. One night, he hit me so hard I couldn't stand. I lay on the floor clutching my belly, terrified for the life inside me. The next day, a nurse at the clinic pressed a card into my hand. "There's a shelter," she said. "Go tonight." That night, while Jason slept, I packed my few belongings and walked into the dark. The shelter gave me a small room. One bed, one table, 2 chairs, curtains printed with flowers. It felt like a miracle. A few weeks later, my daughter was born. I named her Emma. She was tiny, with dark hair and my eyes. When I held her against my chest, I promised aloud, "No one will ever hurt you, not while I'm alive." Life was difficult, but it was ours. I worked mornings at a bakery, shaping loaves and frosting cakes. In the evenings, I read to Emma in our little room, walked her to the park, kissed her forehead before bed. For the first time in years, I began to believe in tomorrow. Then Jason found me. One evening, leaving work, I heard his voice. I turned and saw him, disheveled, reeking of alcohol, eyes too sharp. "I've changed," he said. "I want to see my daughter." "No," I answered, pulling away. His hand closed around my arm. Not hard, but enough to make my body remember every bruise. I tore free and ran. That night I locked the door, held Emma close, and cried silently until dawn. The next morning I went to the police. I was trembling as I told them my story. They brought me into a quiet room. And then, him, the officer, the same one who had once visited our house years ago when Uncle Henry's shouting rattled the neighborhood. His nameplate read, "Officer Carter." Our eyes met. Recognition flickered. "Grace Turner," he said gently. "We've met before." "Yes," I whispered, remembering the card he had once given me when I was too afraid to ask for help. He listened to everything, patiently, without judgment. He explained how to file for a protective order, how the law could shield us. His voice was steady, his presence a calm I hadn't felt in years. When Emma stirred in my arms, he smiled softly and said, "She's safe with you, and you're safe with us." For the first time, I believed it. Weeks passed. The court granted me full custody. Jason never showed up. I moved from the shelter into a small apartment painted yellow, flowers on the windowsill. It wasn't much, but it was home. Carter began stopping by, not as an officer, but as a friend. He helped carry groceries, brought books for Emma, and sometimes sat on the porch with me after she'd fallen asleep. He never rushed me, never asked for more than I could give. One evening, under a sky dusted with stars, he turned to me and said, "Grace, I don't love you because of your past. I love you because of who you are now." Tears filled my eyes, but this time they weren't born of fear. They were born of love. "I love you too," I whispered. "Life is still hard. I work long hours. Some nights I check the locks more than once, but I am no longer afraid. I have Emma's laughter, Carter's steady hand, and a heart that has finally learned that love is not pain. Love is safety, warmth, and hope. And this time, I am not alone.